Great. Hi, everyone. Thank you so much for joining me this afternoon. I'm Vanessa, and today I will be speaking on behalf of the Animal Law Foundation about the critical issues regarding the lack of enforcement of farmed animal protection laws in the UK. The British public pride themselves on being a nation of animal lovers and often proclaim that we have some of the highest animal welfare standards in the world. This perception, unfortunately, has led consumers to believe in the illusion of ethical farming. However, the true test comes when we determine how the legislation is actually applied in practice. And right now, the UK is failing that test. Today, I present to you the findings of our comprehensive report that reveals a different and horrifying reality. So what is the enforcement problem? This is when a law exists on paper, but is severely under-enforced in practice. As a result, the law's effectiveness and relevance is highly questionable, if not completely meaningless. I mean, what is the point of having laws in the first place if they're not taken seriously? At the end of 2022, the Animal Law Foundation co-authored a report with Animal Equality to produce groundbreaking data exposing the enforcement problem concerning farmed animals in the UK. Never before has data been collected from such a wide range of sources and combined into its first-of-its-kind report. It reveals evidence of illegality, neglect, abuse, and consistently poor standards across UK farms and slaughterhouses. The current system is failing to serve the animals who need it the most, and it's time for us to take action. Now I'm going to look at some of the data that was gathered. In our analysis of 65 investigations conducted between 2016 and 2021, we found disturbing patterns. In every single investigation, there was some form of illegal activity and prolonged suffering that was witnessed. In 86% of cases, the footage was passed on to the relevant authorities, yet, having a little technical difficulty. Yet despite providing this evidence, a staggering 70% of the cases resulted in zero action being taken. This is not a mere oversight. This is an alarming discovery that exposes significant flaws in the enforcement system of farmed animal laws. 12 of our investigations were conducted on chicken farms. Chickens are the most farmed land animal in the UK, with approximately 64 million chickens dying on farms each year. The most illegal conduct of suffering involving broiler chickens, which are chickens bred for meat, was due to their fast growth. Over the years, broiler chickens have been selectively bred to reach slaughter weight faster in as little as 4 to 6 weeks. As a result of this fast growth rate, chickens face a range of health issues, including high mortality, legs breaking under their body weight, organ failure, lameness, and hock burns due to inactivity and sitting in ammonia all day long. Despite all of the evidence of suffering and mistreatment, 100% of these cases resulted in zero action being taken. Needless to say, this is completely unacceptable. The most common form of welfare breaches on dairy farms was physical abuse and untreated lameness. This included cows being hit with sharp objects, calves being thrown on the floor, hot branding, and lame cows forced to stand and walk. Lameness is described as having an impaired walking ability, and it is one of the most significant problems for dairy cows, which causes prolonged suffering throughout their entire life. Under UK legislation, lame cows should receive appropriate veterinary treatment immediately, yet our research has suggested that more than a quarter of cows on UK dairy farms are lame at any one time. Overall, 66% of these investigations resulted in no action being taken. When it comes to fish farming, we have a long way to go. Salmon farming is the largest fish farming industry in the UK, housing at least 35 million fish. The welfare breaches detected during investigations included painful lice infestations, open wounds, infections, missing eyes, and all forms of deformities. Even with the numerous complaints filed, just like the chickens, no formal action was taken in relation to any of these instances. There are also issues with fish farming when it comes to slaughterhouses. Under law, it is required that fish should be spared avoidable pain and suffering at the time of killing. However, there's no official guidance on this matter, unlike with land animals, so it's not really clear what this means. Therefore, our investigations have shown fish not being stunned properly or even at all. Prior to an investigation in 2021, there were no routine welfare inspections taking place at fish slaughterhouses. And only recently has the Scottish Government suggested these routine welfare inspections. Clearly, there's a lot of work to be done when it comes to protecting these vulnerable animals. Like any mutilation, tail docking causes extreme pain to pigs. Routine tail docking is illegal in the UK and can only be carried out as a last resort. Yet, despite this, the investigations revealed that tail docking without any pain relief was present on 85% of the farms. Pigs were also subjected to a whole host of extreme suffering and noncompliance, which included inadequate stunning, deliberate physical abuse, and piglets being thrown into boiling water without being checked for vital signs. And unfortunately, during one of our investigations, a piglet was seen to be alive during that time. In all of these 65 investigations covered, a staggering 70% resulted in no formal action despite the overwhelming evidence. This report proves that it is not enough just to pass animal protection laws through Parliament, but we need to make sure that these laws are being strictly enforced and upheld. So it's important that we consider who is responsible for ensuring that these laws are being properly followed. The enforcement of welfare law operates within a very complex framework with more than 180 bodies responsible for the legal oversight. On the screen, you can see the different bodies involved, and we've broken them down by location. So there's a farm, slaughterhouses, during transport, and at the market. On farms, the biggest oversight role rests with the keepers on the ground, and they are required to check on these animals once a day. The regulatory oversight is shared with numerous bodies, with the primary responsibility of enforcement resting with local authorities. In slaughterhouses, the government has an agreement in place with the Food Standards Agency, which require that they carry out welfare checks. However, this agency hands out licenses to the individuals who are actually carrying out the slaughter. So overall, this fragmented system has resulted in a lack of enforcement and accountability, which has created all kinds of inconsistencies and confusion throughout. When it comes to animal welfare inspections, there are actually no rules on how often inspections should be carried out. To shed light on this situation, we sent Freedom of Information requests to over 180 bodies, asking questions about how many complaints they'd received and what sort of action they were taking. Shockingly, our data revealed that less than 3% of UK farms were inspected. This equates to just 1 inspection per every 205 farm. This incredibly low inspection rate raises serious concerns about the effectiveness of oversight, and we owe it to these animals to demand better protection. The involvement of numerous bodies has led to a significant lack of inspection, making the current system not fit for purpose. Of the few inspections that took place after receiving a complaint, only 1/3 of the cases found any illegal activities at these farms. Even more alarming, less than 1% of animal welfare complaints led to a prosecution. These appallingly low percentages clearly illustrate a broken system that fails to protect the animals that need it the most. It's evident that urgent action is needed to fix this flawed system. Now, we recognize the amazing work of other animal organizations, and of course, there's a lot more work to be done, especially in improving these laws themselves. But it is so important that the laws that we tirelessly advocate for actually have a meaningful impact. The unwavering hard work of the public, of policymakers, of campaigners in passing these laws through Parliament should not go to waste. It is essential that we bridge the gap between legislation and implementation. So, what is the value of claiming to have world-class animal protection laws when we don't effectively enforce them? With limited and inadequate inspections and a reluctance to prosecute, animal cruelty is going undetected and animal abusers are not being held accountable. This also begs the question, if laws designed to protect humans are taken seriously, why aren't non-human animals granted the same level of protection? Here at the CARE conference, I believe we all share the same vision. We want to see a world in which farmed animals are not suffering. This is why it is essential to make full use of every protection that they actually do have, because it really does make a difference to the life of the individual animal. This report pulls back the curtains on the system's greatest pain points, revealing problems so gigantic on scale that their suffering cannot be overstated. Together, we can build a system in which laws are not just words, but a force for positive change in the lives of animals. The intention of our report is to prompt the beginning of the end of the enforcement problem. In failing to fix this disorganized system, we're risking failing millions of animals who are facing the greatest consequences of them all. So we at the Animal Law Foundation are continuing this important work, and we have a lot of really exciting projects coming up. And as a new organization, we would be so grateful if you would follow us on social media or sign up for our newsletter if you want to stay updated on our upcoming actions. Great, thank you so much for listening.
Thank you. So now let's go to the Q&A. And the first question starts with a compliment. So, stellar presentation. How would you recommend individual advocates put pressure on the relevant authorities to be better about enforcing existing animal welfare laws?
Yeah, great question. So, as an individual, there are steps that you can do to help this problem. In the UK specifically, writing to your MPs is a great way to start. Signing petitions is super important to spread awareness on social media or other news outlets about the problem to grow the awareness are all really good initial steps in overcoming the enforcement problem.
Okay, the next question. Do you think people in the UK understand this is what is happening and how they get their food? Yeah,
that's a great question. the people in the UK, again, have this idea that we are a country of animal lovers, so our farming standards and systems are great. And I'm sure a lot of other European countries feel similarly. So another problem is also when it comes to these official bodies. There is a lack of knowledge and education and expertise within the animal law sector. So unfortunately and very sadly, it's not really taken that seriously, and it's not a priority for these official bodies. So that's definitely another step that we need to take to improve the awareness so the individual can understand their food choices.
Okay. A different question asks about if your research was primary or secondary. If you visited these farms, how easy or hard was it to gain access? I can't imagine it's easy to gain access to slaughterhouse or factory farms and report on the welfare conditions there. Thank you for your presentation.
Yes, so of these 60 investigations that we had, we actually worked with many different organizations, animal organizations, including Animal Equality. So over the 3 years that these were conducted, we had a lot of help. Our main area, we're a research charity, so we took all of this information and figured out how much this enforcement standards were taking place. In terms of the specifics with these investigations, I agree that it sounds very complicated. I don't know exactly how that took place, but I would be very happy to connect whoever asked that question with our lawyers that would be able to give a more precise answer in terms of the investigations themselves.
Okay, great. So, yeah, please reach out to Vanessa, to the author of the question if you need more information. And the final one will be, do you think the sentience bill, and if you could explain what the sentience bill is, because I guess the person asking implies you would know, will change something once the proper committee is established?
Yes, so that's an excellent question. Again, as I don't have any specific legal expertise, I think it would be more appropriate for one of our lawyers to shed information on that specific legal question. But again, very happy to connect and facilitate that connection outside of this speech.
Okay, yeah, great. So thank you. That will be all, and thanks for the lecture and the answers.
Thank you.